All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Insurance Gone Wild. I am your host, Dennis Settlemior, and my co-host is
Stephanie Lencioni.
And I'm going to say it, Stephanie Lencioni.
Yes.
Stephanie Lencioni. We're gonna talk about something that I know that is on people's minds. They're just are going to be on their minds. They just haven't thought of it yet because I get the phone calls. Here's what it is, Stephanie.
I love it.
A lot of people. We are coming up to the summertime, right? And school's going to be out, and people are going to be traveling. They're going to be driving, and they're going to be going to different places, whether we're here in Texas, whether it be different places here in Texas, or they're going to be traveling to different states. So the question that we get asked is, how does our insurance work if we are traveling? Or if we are traveling in our own vehicle, or if we're traveling using a rental car. How does our insurance work? And then also, hey, Stephanie, what happens if I get sick or need to go to the doctor while I'm in a different state or a different area? How does my health insurance work? So,
it doesn't. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. That's not the
does.
answer. Just kidding. It can.
Yeah, it may work
It
differently.
may not, but it can.
Well, sure. Yeah.
We'll discuss.
But yeah, so, if people are driving their cars, the question that I get is, hey, Dennis, I'm going to drive to Florida. And if I get in an accident, do I need any other insurance in order to do that? So one of my first questions is, well, are you driving your own vehicle or are you renting a car? If you're driving your own vehicle, you've got no problems. Your insurance will work just the same as if you were here in Texas. And that usually, they're okay with that. I said, now, if you're driving a rental car, it will still work. It just works a little bit differently in that you want to make sure you have enough liability coverage to cover in the event that you total out that rental car and you hit somebody else in the process, that you've got enough liability to insurance to cover the accident plus the cost of the vehicle that you just totaled.
Okay. Big question here.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I didn't know this.
But now you do.
I do. So, okay.
Makes sense though, doesn't it?
Well, it does because it's not my car. So it's somebody else's property and they're not insuring the blah, blah, blah rental, but that wouldn't be acting as though it was my car. Yeah, so it wouldn't be. So if I rented, I actually just got back from a trip and we call it the vacation car. My kids love that. And they're like, do we get the vacation car? I'm like, you betcha. That's right. And by the way, it's a minivan. And we get so excited when Brian goes and he goes to pick it out. And I'm like, do we have any? Do we have any? Do we have any? Yes! The minivan. And yes, I'm at that stage in my life where we are ecstatic to rent a minivan. They're just so spacious, great gas mileage, and they're fantastic.
And you get doors on both sides?
Doors on both sides, and they don't swing open. It's a button. And then when the kids were younger, I actually would put a stool because they would get, we are a road trip family. We've taken the kids on like 24-hour, 25-hour long road trips. So we would take a stool and I would put it between the two seats in the back. So then I'd be the one like kind of riding bitch in the back, if you will. And then kid on each side, I'm like, oh, hello, I love you, I love you. Oh, I love you, I love you. And entertaining. So they're fantastic. But having said all of that, I thought that, so like the vacation car isn't taking over as my vehicle. So that's liability.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know if I understand your question completely, but let me explain it a different way.
Yeah.
Whenever you go to rent a car, you're going to have to show them you have liability insurance.
Correct.
In the event that you wreck their vehicle, your liability is the one that's going to pay to get their vehicle fixed.
Not the collision.
With our old company that we were with, it was a collision. It would be a collision claim.
Yeah.
If you hit something.
If it was our fault.
Yes, but with most companies, it falls under liability. Yes.
So it's just clear as mud again.
Yep.
Right.
With our old company, it was, and I think they've changed it now. I think they changed it while I was still there to where everything falls under liability.
Okay. So maybe that's why I was confused, because that's where I started on that portion of it. But
so sometimes I get people that call, and we don't have very many customers that have state minimum limits, but most people have the next level up or higher with our clients do. But yes, I tell them, look, you may want to at least temporarily raise your liability limits up to make sure you have enough coverage there for everything.
Interesting. Yep. I did not know that.
Now, the other thing that I will recommend that they do.
Yeah, because minimum, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but minimum wouldn't even, in the state of Texas, it's $25,000 for liability. You can't even hardly find a car. And when you rent a car, you're talking about a newer vehicle that has, typically it's under 10,000 miles. Like ours had like 2,000 miles
it's going to be over $25,000. Maybe 30.
Like that.
But yes, so you got to make sure your liability is there to cover.
That is shocking.
To cover everything. So
this is quite an educational and informative podcast.
There you go. Well, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Just to teach Steph.
We haven't talked about the health insurance part
well,
yet.
True, yeah.
When that vein on the side of my head starts quivering. But,
I've named it. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. No, that's usually the way it works. So let's temporarily adjust your liability limits. And usually it's not very much. To go up to the next level anyway, which know that. If you go from 50, 150 to 100, 300, 100, it doesn't double in premium.
Right.
It goes up, a small amount. And lots of times people are like, just keep it, type thing. But the other thing that I will recommend is that they get the, what I call it, walk-away insurance.
Yeah, it's like, hey, $7 a day, and now
it's more than that now, but yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It's probably $20 a day, but
if anything happens, if you
roll that thing down a cliff, and you're able to walk away from it, let them go pick it up. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and then it's like it doesn't go on your insurance. It doesn't. So basically, you're renting. Well, you're transferring the risk. Yeah. And it doesn't even go on your policy or anything like that.
And I will really push that if they know that it's going to be bad weather.
For sure.
Wherever they're going.
Yeah. So
or they're going to be driving through bad weather.
Right.
Because if it hails, it's still on you.
True.
It's still on you. So if you get hail damage and you're in Oklahoma,
or you hit a deer crossing.
A deer or anything
whatever,
like that. Yes.
Driving at night.
It is still on you.
Yeah.
And it's still on your liability. It's still a claim on your deal. So, so it just depends on what people's risk meter, where they fall on the risk meter, where they want to get that or not. I am a proponent of it because I don't want to deal with a headache of a claim.
Yeah.
And going back and forth. Yeah, it costs me more money. I get it. It costs me more money. But in the scheme of things, it could save me a lot of money in the event of a claim. Because if you have a claim, guess what happens to your rates? And it's not just for 6 months; it's for 3 to 5 years. It's going to affect your rate.
Yeah.
So just get the what I call walk-away insurance. They also have another one for the liability portion, like if you hit somebody, and
like to increase your limits?
No, for like enterprise rental car. They have 2 coverages you can buy. You can buy the physical damage waiver. That's the walk-away insurance. And you can buy their liability coverage too, which means for medical bills and stuff that you hit somebody else's car that you hit or something like that.
I guess that's the one I typically either have gotten or they have presented.
So you can get both. Well, usually they'll present both, but the physical damage waiver, I think
that's just
that's just physical damage to the vehicle. That's the one that I usually get. I don't usually get the liability one because I figure, well, if I'm liable, if I'm driving it and I hit somebody, it was probably my fault anyway, so I should be probably liable for it. But physical damage could be anything. It could be you could have a board fly out the back of a truck that you're following and smash the windshield or bust up the whole front end of the vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing And that's typically when we rent is we're doing road trips because we don't want to put the miles on our car.
Sure.
And we don't have a cool vacation car. We just have normal block cars.
What you need is a big 4-door diesel pickup.
Is that what we need?
That's what you need.
That got weird. But
and then you can travel wherever you want to go.
Yes, I love that. I love that. But if you are going, so what's happened to me before is, I mean, again, if it's typically a road trip, so hey, we're going to different states or whatever, typically means you're going on a highway for a while. And I can't tell you how many tire shred crap debris that we saw. It was terrible, like all down 20. It was just like tire. And then they're in the middle of the road, and then you've got crap flying out. I mean, but I have had where I was driving, it's like out of nowhere. Because if it happens around you, I mean, I had this little car. I was driving up to Oklahoma, and it just boop, and it busted the whole grill. I'm like, well, that sucks.
Have you ever been going down the highway and you're driving, and all of a sudden you see some big rigged tire and wheel just going by itself down the highway?
Yeah.
Those hit a car. Ooh, that'd do some damage.
I have a terrible story about that. In my claims world, that was one of the claims. We had one of our insureds had performed like an oil change and a tire rotation. Just on like a normal vehicle, and they didn't tighten the tire all the way. It flew off and it went down, and there was a dad and a little girl where their car had broken down, and they were walking, and the tire took out the little girl. Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yep.
Awful. So that can happen. And then you get those big trucks. They are supposed to check all of their equipment and all of their tires and all of their every time before a long trip. They don't, because I mean, you see some of those trucks and you're like, I don't even know how you're running down the damn road. And that's how they have those blowouts all the time.
Yep.
Because it shouldn't happen.
Yep.
If they maintain their vehicles and their tires and all of that. But it happens.
And I get it. I mean, I get it on both sides. I get it from their perspective too. I mean, those tires are, $500 to $800 a piece. And so they're expensive.
They are. But it costs, anyway.
I mean, I mean, it does. The thing is that if one of those come flying off and hits a vehicle that you're renting, there's physical damage.
And not your fault.
If you don't have the waiver from Enterprise or Hertz or whoever the other companies are
there
out there,
a million,
that then it's going to be a claim against you, against your auto liability policy. So just get the coverage and not worry about it. It's a piece of money.
Or don't
go
and
anywhere.
just understand how. Or don't go anywhere. Just stay in your house, staycation. No, but just understand, because again, so it's not going to be a collision claim. It's going to fall under your liability. So there you go.
Yep.
Again, learning stuff every day.
So, and I've also had them call me. This doesn't happen very often because most people don't know the difference unless they've come from a different state, lived in a different state. In that, we're going through Arkansas and the liability limits are different there. Or am I going to be okay? You'll be fine. Is because if the liability limits are higher, the minimum liability limits are higher in another state than they are in Texas, which I don't know that there are any out there.
I didn't know many.
But let's say that you're in another state and you come to Texas and you're from Missouri and it's 25, 50, 15. And you're in Texas driving around and it's 30, 60, 25. Well, your insurance company from Missouri will honor that
you've had coverage
in
as
Texas,
a minimum,
as the minimum coverage.
Well, it won't bump your coverage up. It will just accept you had appropriate coverage based on your home base.
Let's go to your side.
Okay.
Because I've gotten this question. I don't even know anything about it, but we're driving to Florida. What happens if I get sick while I'm down there, or I've got a spouse who has some sort of issue,
chronic things.
We're going to Florida or Arizona so that we can get a different climate or whatever for just a month or whatever. How does my insurance work in another state from a health insurance side?
So if you have a PPO For the most part, you're going to be fine. Just call up a local doctor from wherever you are. At this point, I would also say, hey, if it's something that can be handled through telemedicine, most policies have some sort of, hotline telemedicine associated with it. So you can do that. Like, oh man, I think I'm coming down with strep. Like on our trip, there was so much pollen in the air. It was just allergies, which is part of why I call it my sexy voice. So if I wanted to get treatment for it or wanted something for it, then I could have called telemedicine. Hey, I think I've got allergies. But if you have an HMO plan, unless it is an emergency, if you are out of your coverage area, you don't have coverage. So, for instance, in Texas, if you have an HMO, let's say you're on...
be out of network.
What did I say? Out of...
You said it wouldn't have any coverage.
Correct.
It wouldn't even be considered out of network?
No, there is no out-of-network coverage.
For HMO?
Uh-huh.
I thought there was in-network and there was out-of-network even for HMO.
There is an out-of-network is not covered. So they'll still tell you about it, but it's not covered. You cannot go out of network. So that's part of the thing with PPO is that it gives you flexibility that you can go anywhere. Now you can go, if you've got a doctor who's not in network and you still just want to go to them, it's fine. You can go, but at a higher rate, and they like triple your out of pocket.
All right. So that vein is starting
It's coming. I see it. And like,
bubble. So if you have an HMO, you're saying that if you're outside of your network, you have zero coverage?
Unless it is the case of an emergency, unless it's an emergency. And an emergency is not, well, my throat really hurts and it's 2:00 in the morning. And no, emergency, car accident, heart attack, stroke, a life-threatening, an acute incident. Hey, I was on the back of a boat and a propeller got my arm. I would consider that an emergency, and so would hospitals. However, same thing, if I have an HMO, I'm over here in another state and there's a ton of pollen and I'm like feeling like total crap. I'm like, I just need a steroid shot or I just need something.
Get that.
Then there's no coverage.
That, yeah.
But that's not an emergency and there is no coverage. So I can go to a doctor, but I'm paying out of pocket with an HMO.
Has a chronic issue.
There's still
it's not really an emergency, it's just a chronic issue.
Plan accordingly. So I have that issue. So we have Medicare clients with that, and we've got individual clients and even business owners, and they're like, okay, but we travel for work sometimes and So HMO clearly is a more cost-effective option. And PPO is much more expensive. And they're like, what do we do? And I'm like, I can't answer that for you. But what I can tell you is if you want coverage anywhere you go in the States, it's PPO. If it's HMO, it is 100%. It is their network and their network only. And typically that is regional.
So businesses that have people who are traveling outside their region, let's call it, they really should seriously consider PPO for their employees, at least those employees, because they can have different plans based on the size of the group, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, so even with like state of Texas, because with group policies, it's all about home base, like where's the home office. And so if home office is Texas, and we've got this where and then they've got multiple employees that are out of state, well, they want to offer HMO to their in-state. Out of state employees, they don't even have an HMO option, because if they're not in Texas, they're basically saying, we're not going to allow you to pay for a plan that has no coverage. No matter, they don't care if you travel a lot and blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes you can get an exception if there's, so like Arkansas, Texas, it's like a border city.
Like Texarkana.
Yeah, Texarkana, even Oklahoma, Texas line, where it's like right there on the line. They're like, hey, the business is right on the border in Texas, but somebody lives in Oklahoma.
Sure.
Sometimes we can get an exception and say, but they go to Texas for all of their treatment anyway, and that's where their doctors are. That would be fine. But you're talking, hey, we've got Texas, and then somebody up in Indiana or somebody in California, somebody here, somebody there. Like, it's PPO. because it's out of the coverage area, which is Texas.
Okay.
You're welcome. So if you are traveling and you get sick, depends on the plan that you have.
Interesting.
Yeah. And for those of you, just to make it a little bit more confusing, if you do by chance have an EPO, which is a mutt between the two, it will depend on what kind of EPO. So if it is an employer-sponsored EPO, United Healthcare does a lot of that, then that's going to have coverage nationwide, nationally. But if it is through the marketplace, regional. It will not be a national, most cases. I don't want to put like a hard 100% on that, but I'm pretty much going to put 100%. I'll put a 99 on that. EPO. So take your vitamins. Emergency. Take that as you, like a little orange packet drink thing of your vitamins.
So let's go back to the Medicare.
Yeah.
Stuff. All right. So with Medicare, I know nothing about Medicare. So with Medicare, I know that you purchase it, it's sort of a regional type deal, right? So if you have somebody that moved from Houston to Dallas-Fort Worth, they may have to get a different plan.
Will
have. Okay, they will have to get a different plan because it's really regional.
Really regional.
But as long as they're in Texas and they go to Houston and get hurt or they got to go see a doctor for whatever reason, will the Medicare pay, the DFW, North Texas Medicare pay for something that's happened in Houston? Let's say it's not an emergency, but...
Is it a PPO or is it a supplement?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know the difference on that.
So your HMO, your PPO...
You can get that with Medicare too?
Yeah. Yeah, they have HMO PPO with Medicare if it's a Medicare Advantage plan. Or you can get a supplement plan, which basically has no network, and it's just if the doctor accepts Medicare, typically they will accept a supplement plan, and that becomes a nationwide thing, and that's not regional. So supplements more widespread, more of a national thing, no network, so you're good. PPO, you'd be good. HMO, it's going to be dicey. Are they in network? Are they not? Because you've got some that are so regional that they're not in other areas. So you've got some carriers that are in the Houston area and they're not in DFW and vice versa. So if they're not in DFW, then they don't have a network of doctors in DFW. Typically. Why would they? They're in Houston.
Yeah, but I would think they would still, if it wasn't, it would still have some coverage. But I guess you're saying it doesn't.
It depends.
It depends.
Are they in network?
Oh, I hate health insurance.
I know. HMOs, you have to remember, like HMOs are cheaper. So with Medicare, if you get an HMO, typically you're talking $0 a month. You're not paying anything for the plan. Mm-hmm. For the plan itself, you still have your Part A. Well, you don't pay for Part A, but Part B, well, typically you don't. I'm just trying to be like accurate on everything. Most people do not have a Part A premium. You have to pay your Part B premium. Some have reduced based on income. That goes to the government. And then the Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement is all additional. That's bonus. And that covers the gaps.
Alrighty. Yeah. So if you're traveling at all, you need to talk with your insurance agent about how does your insurance work in the event that you need to use it, whether it be auto insurance or health or Medicare.
Mm-hmm. And then they have international travel with health insurance.
Yes.
And sometimes there's coverage for that. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you need to talk to your travel agent and they will have like an additional policy that you can get for that, which is really important. Like I had a family member get, sick. We weren't sure he was coming back to the States at his own free will. And he's doing great. He's awesome. He kicked it. But he was in the hospital for weeks weeks
His
in another
bill was,
country.
what, $25 for the week.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's crazy though? In the hospital, they don't. So this was in Greece. They didn't provide toiletries. They didn't provide. Yeah, they didn't provide food. They didn't. So it's not like hospitals here in the States where it's like, oh, okay. And what was your meal that you like? They would provide a meal for the patient, but toiletries, you had to get your own. You had to go get it. That is not just
I'm sure they have
included.
people walking around, vendors that are selling that to folks.
I don't know. I mean, my people went like, it was like you had to go underground into this shop thing or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, talk to if you're going to travel like that, talk to your travel agent.
For sure.
For that kind of insurance. We don't do that. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, actually. They were asking, what kind of insurance do you guys do? I'm like, if it's insurance, we do it. Now, there's certain things we choose not to do. Yeah. Travel insurance is one of them. Do we have access to it? Yeah, we could sell it. We could offer it to people. However, don't really know enough about it.
Yeah, and that's where you're, like,
let somebody else that deals with that.
That's where the travel agents are going to know all about it because they have to. Like, that's part of, hey, how do they protect their client during that trip? And that very specific and so I would talk to them.
You know, it's like anything else. I mean, you don't go to OBGYN for heart issues usually. You know, you may go there and get somewhat diagnosed with something, but they're eventually going to send you to a specialist.
Sure, and
or the other way around. You don't go to a heart doctor for OBGYN. You know what OBGYN stands for? Oh boy, got you naked.
Oh boy. And they do every time. But well, and that would be uncomfortable where it's like,
no, but you get the, you go to
your cardiologist and you're like, and by the way, doc.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about this?
I got this rash.
I got
but now, a little off subject, but that goes back also to the thing of somebody that does 95% home and auto probably doesn't know that much about commercial insurance, type deal.
Yeah, so, make sure your people know the lane.
So talk to your insurance agent, see what they have to say. If you're not getting the answers you're looking for, be careful with Dr. Google. Dr. Google, even with AI, doesn't understand all the nuances. There's some good stuff out there, but it's still not there yet. But you can welcome to reach out to us too if you have questions. We'd be glad to answer them, even if you're not our client, and see if we can't help you. We may ask you a number of questions back to get a better feel for what's going on. But
like, what's your social? Sometimes they ask. I just love that commercial. You've seen it, right? It's like the young, kind of grungy looking guy helping the old lady hang a painting. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for your help. He's like, hey, I'm going to order a pizza later. What's your social? Sometimes they ask.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just so.
I have not seen that.
Oh man, it's from years ago, but that's Brian and I always are like, what's your social? Sometimes they ask.
That's funny. And again, this is that time of year where people are going to visit relatives. They're going on vacations.
But it's anywhere, right? So it's like summer, it's spring break, it's fall, it's now holidays.
That we talk about it. Especially on the health side. Good grief.
Good grief.
But this is usually when I get the questions this time of year. Fair. But it could be any time. It could be Christmas time. It could be Thanksgiving. It could be, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're traveling, make sure you understand what could happen in the event that you need to use your insurance. Don't be surprised. Don't wait till, I'll just worry about it then. Nothing's ever going to happen. Well, what do I say? That's why they call them accidents, not on purposes.
Yeah.
Because they're accidents.
Not on purposes.
Well, thank you all for joining us. If you have questions, comments, reach out to us at contact@igwpodcast.com or give us a call, 817-753-0093. Thank you all so much. Bye.